Welcome back to Book Club. So, as I'm sure you can see from the glasses, I just came in from outside. I was over at the schoolhouse playing with China. That is for the weekend's videos. And I will be going back when I'm through with this one. But what we are going to be talking about, since we are Book Club, is the newest book we are tackling, Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett's Good Omens. And this is an interesting book in that it's not really divided into chapters. It's the divisions are sort of based on the days of the week. And even then, I wouldn't say this is chapterized. I would say it's sectionalized. We're looking at under 400 pages. And at that size, it seems like a fairly long read, but actually it isn't. It's a super quick read because it's lighthearted. It's a lot of fun. So when we come back, because this book is such an easy read, I thought we might be able to do this in 2 weeks. If you think that's overambitious, let me know, because I don't want to push anyone on the reading. But, it's getting colder out. That means we're all going to be spending more time indoors. And it might be nice to have something to do while we're inside. This book has sort of a superficial story, which is a very comedic view of the end of the world. But at the same time, it digs into much deeper issues. It's one of those things that you can fall as far down that rabbit hole as you choose. You can stay on the surface, deal with the fun story, or take a look at the deeper issues. What is God's ineffable plan? Is this something that makes sense? Is this something that is, in fact, the word of a divine being? Is it allegorical? What does it mean? But let's start with the real meaning of ineffable, because you will hear that word a lot in the book, or read that word a lot in the book, depending on whether or not you're doing the audiobooks or actually reading. And ineffable means it defies our articulation. You cannot express it in words. It defies understanding in the human sense. That's the meaning of the word. So that's one that you will come across. There are some other things you will come across in the book that do require a little bit of explanation. And one of the first is one of our main protagonists, Crowley the demon. It was very interesting. I liked the play on words. They start off with Crawley, as in to crawl when he was a little serpent, and then moved to Crowley, which was the name of one of the most famous 20th century Satanists, a magician. And by that, I mean a magician in the Harry Potter sense, not the David Copperfield sense, named Aleister Crowley. That wasn't actually, his actual name was Crowley, but it wasn't, I think it was Edward Alexander Crowley, and he changed it to Aleister, who knows why. They say he actually filed his teeth to sharp little points, too. The guy was a complete fruitcake, no two ways around it. in a period in the early 20th century when mysticism and seances and magic and otherworldly stuff was just hugely popular. And Crowley was one of the more bizarre ones. He was British, by the way. In America, we had our own. We had Anton Szandor LaVey. And I do wonder if the fact that our demon in this story is Anthony Crowley might not have been a mix of Anton Szandor LaVey and Aleister Crowley. But that's just me. And I thought I would just throw that in there because these bizarro quasi-Satanist philosophy happy magicians, they were a breed unto their own. And back in the 60s, the late 60s, there was a certain resurgence of interest in these people because there's a connection, obviously, between this and the whole New Age, heaven only knows what. And you will see that played out in the book. Some of the characters in the book are definitely New Agey types. So, basically, it's a fun read. And as I said, it tells the story of the end of the world in a fun way. But most of it is the entertaining style of writing of the two authors, who are clearly making fun of everything to do with good and evil and religion and angels and demons and Satanists and the Aquarium Age, because much of the book is seen through the perspective of some small children when they start speaking of the Aquarium Age and how they conflate this with Charles Fort, who documented Fortean events. No, he didn't make it rain fishes. He just researched incidents where people had reported that it rained fishes. You know, all that sort of thing. I find it just charming because this is the way a child would interpret the Aquarian Age. Yes, it would be the Aquarium Age. And yes, you would, save the whales like you would save baseball cards. So, charming, easy read, very delightful. At least that is my opinion. And something light that I thought might transition us into seeing what your selections are, because we've got a couple of weeks to devote to this, which is fun. And as I mentioned, there was a television series made. It's a good television series. If you want to take a look at it, I think it was something like 6 or 8 episodes, a BBC production. I'm sure that's available online. I know it's available on the pirate sites. And it's fun. And while we are looking at this, in the back of your minds, I'd like you to consider what we would want to take a look at next. Because so far, I've been picking the stuff for you. I would love to hear what you have to say, because if I do not hear from you to the contrary, next up, we are going to go with Kerry Greenwood and some of the Franny Fisher mysteries, because Kerry Greenwood is Australian, and I realized we have had, we started off with Jane Austen, a 19th century British woman. From there, we moved over to John Kennedy Toole, a 20th century American man. We are back to Brits again, although I think Neil Gaiman is in the United States now. I'm not sure about that, but I think he is. So let's go to Australia next. We are going to stick within the English language for this, mostly because if we were to read something that was written in a foreign language, we would have to read a translation. And other than the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series, which we can get into if you want, because I've been able to cross-check the translation, I am not able to cross-check translations for you, and I wouldn't want to say, well, read an English version of this book, which might be dramatically inferior to the version as it was written. But, oh, and by the way, Girl with the Dragon Tattoo is on the table if you're interested in that. It's a series of 3 books. The actual Swedish title is Men Who Hate Women, just so you know. And I have both the English and the Swedish versions. I've read them both, and I can tell you the English version is an outstanding translation. It really is. But Swedish is a Germanic language, just as English is, which means that the translation difficulties you might have, for example, if you were trying to translate Japanese into English, are just not present. It is a language that can be translated into English without any significant loss from the native version. So that's also a possibility. Give it some thought, and maybe we'll just change it. We'll just say, do you want to do Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, or would you like to do Carrie Greenwood? I do have to warn you that Girl with the Dragon Tattoo does have some dark themes in it. So just choose yourself. All right, back to Good Omens. We are starting with, let's see if we can get our cast of characters, because this is at the very beginning of the book. The dramatis personae, spiritual beings, God, parentheses, God. Metatron, parentheses, the voice of God. Aziraphale, parentheses, an angel and part-time rare book dealer. Satan, parentheses, a fallen angel, the adversary. Beelzebub, parentheses, a likewise fallen angel and prince of hell. Hastur, parentheses, a fallen angel and duke of hell. Ligur, likewise a fallen angel and duke of hell. Crowley, parentheses, an angel who did not so much fall as saunter vaguely downwards. Apocalyptic horse persons. Death, parentheses, death. War, parentheses, war. Famine, parentheses, famine. Pollution, parentheses, pollution. Humans. Thou shalt not commit adultery, Pulsifer, parentheses, a witch finder. Agnes Nutter, parentheses, a prophetess. Newton Pulsifer, parentheses, wages clerk and witch finder private. Anathema Device, parentheses, practical occultist and professional descendant. Shadwell, parentheses, witch finder sergeant. Madame Tracy, parentheses, painted Jezebel, brackets, mornings only, Thursdays by arrangement, and medium. Sister Mary Loquacious, parentheses, a satanic nun of the Chattering Order of St. Beryl. Mr. Young, parentheses, a father. Mr. Tyler, a chairman of a residents association. A delivery man, them. Adam, parentheses, an antichrist. Pepper, a girl. Wensleydale, a boy. Brian, a boy. Full chorus of Tibetans, aliens, Americans, Atlanteans, and other strange and rare creatures of the last day, and dog, satanical hellhound, and cat warrior. So that should give you some sense of the flavor of the book. It's a very tongue-in-cheek, very sarcastic in the humor, and in this sense, it's right in line with what we've been reading so far. Jane Austen, who gave us our first taste, and chronologically as well as in order of our book club pursuit, of what you can do by saying exactly the opposite of what you really mean. That comical irony, the sarcasm, the black humor. We saw that right through Austen's work, right through Toole's work here. So that will be familiar territory for us. I would think that what I would look for reading something like this the first time is just the humor, just to take a look at all of the people with interesting, unusual, comical beliefs, epistemological beliefs, who you are, where you fit in with the universe, what is God in relation to you, what are you in relation to God, and what it's like to look at the world from a perspective that is a little different. For example, we have witchfinders here, and at one time that was legitimate. Although I have to say, when they speak about Witchfinder General, they were not referring to a military rank. A Witchfinder General was a general as in ordinary, broad, the way we would use the word general as opposed to specific. Witchfinder. I love the fact that they took that particular concept, a Witchfinder General, and just ran with it in the military context, because that was not the context it was intended in. I like the use of language. They are good writers, both of them. They play well with words. They play well with concepts. So we are getting started on this. I will let you go to town on your own. As always, I am leaving a link. This will be the pinned comment. That'll be the first comment. It'll be right at the head of the comments with the information about where you can download a PDF version of the book. And of course, I got this fairly recently on Amazon. Again, I'm sure I paid less than $20 for it, including shipping. So if you want a hard copy, I don't doubt that it's available at libraries, but just in case, making sure you can easily get a free copy if you would like. Mine is an audiobook copy, and again, I'm not allowed to advertise the pirate sites. That's where I download. Yes, I do. So if you're interested in pirate sites, Google Swedish-based pirate download sites, and you'll find something. All right, so go to town with this one. Have some fun. You start reading it. Let me know in the comments what you think of it, and if there are the larger issues you want to get into, great. We'll get into them. If not, if you prefer the happy little surface reading, again, you won't have any trouble. This is a book that will allow you as much depth or as much sort of surface interest as you want to put into it. Okay, Audie is not with us, so I'm sure you noticed he's not here. As I said, I was out in the schoolhouse dealing with the china, and he knows. He knew when I went out there. He was in the window and watched me go. And I didn't invite him. And because I was unpacking china, and he likes to help, and this is valuable china, so the answer was no. But Audie took that a little personally, so I'm on his bad list. I figure that will last another 10 or 15 minutes until he comes back in, because it was cold out. And when he comes back in, and it was cold and his little paws are cold, he is going to want to curl up in my lap and get snuggled until he warms up. And that's going to put me back in his good books. So cats are easy. Just cuddle them and keep them warm, and they're your best friend. All right. I will see you all tomorrow. And meantime, have fun with the book.